Best of luck to you all who enter. Now, making headlines today is the news that police armed with machine guns are to patrol the streets of London on foot in a revolutionary move for British policing. The specialist squad will be permanently assigned to hotspots plagued by gun-toting gangs. Critics say the Metropolitan Police's latest move brings us closer to the days when all bobbies carry guns. So, should police officers working in tough areas, should they carry guns, or do you think it'll lead to an arms race in the streets?
Well, this is always a hard argument, isn't it? And everybody knows I'm a policeman's daughter, so I'm not, you know, that doesn't make me pro-police, obviously, but what I feel is nothing makes me madder and more frustrated and furious than gangs of young kids that control their communities, and everybody's absolutely petrified of them, and they know that a policeman's coming up to them saying whatever they've got to say. You know what? They laugh in the face of police. And I do feel that
so
if they did have... No, I'm not saying shoot them. I'm not saying shoot them, Carol. I'm saying that maybe it is a deterrent. Maybe they will just have a little bit of fear for the police force if they think that, you know, they get away with it.
But
all,
you
so
shouldn't have to have a machine gun to do that.
Machine gun's pushing it slightly, I've got to say. Machine gun is pushing it slightly.
Do you know, I think also that the only people now who have guns in this country, because they are outlawed, they are illegal, are the criminals. And I think, like, by saying the police will be armed with machine guns, is like saying, well, the criminals have won, because now... I don't know about you, you know, you probably feel differently, but I don't feel safe when I see a policeman with a machine gun. It doesn't reassure me. It actually scares me. I feel scared. Yeah, when I go around the airport and they're walking around with machine guns, I just think, hang on, right, you know, if they did suspect something and they did decide they wanted to shoot someone, and I was in the crossfire, you know what machine guns are like. They're not just like guns. They're you know, I think it's really unnecessary. I think it creates a combative atmosphere. It's the criminals against the police. You know, how long before there'll just be some great big gun war between both of them? I think it's hugely unnecessary, and I don't want to see it. And I frankly don't want to live in a country where the police carry around machine guns all day and all night.
Lots of other countries do, don't they?
I know they do, but
must
they're not
admit
here.
The trouble is, in some of these riots that we get, you know, it becomes a war zone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that can create an even heightened sense if they're carrying big machine guns as well. I mean, I worked alongside a police force when I did my programme, A Murder Most Famous, and they showed me all the... We were looking at all the instruments and all the dreadful things that these lads carry. And I have to tell you, it was the most frightening thing I've ever seen. And I said to these guys, how do you go out there knowing these guys have compelled you with all these things? And he said, well, that's our job. You know, that's why we use tasers, because it stuns people. But he said, to carry... Even they were saying to carry machine guns, he said, we're giving off the wrong message. He said, the other thing is the training. He said, you get a young lad in the police force and they go into a riot situation and they become terrified and they panic. And a panic-stricken person with a machine gun is the worst scenario.
Exactly. You see, you know, we've already seen mistakes made by the police, and you know, now increasingly you do see like overzealous policemen, you know, who abuse their power.
Yes,
I'm not saying all of them, but some of them do. And if they've all got the gun, you know, how many... I don't think we're in a position to arm the police, and I don't think they should look like... stand there looking like soldiers. I know other countries do have them, but you do look at them and they look like soldiers, like they're trying to control you because they've got all the power, because they've got the gun. And we shouldn't be like that here, especially where nobody else has a gun. In the US, everyone can have a gun if they want one. And so the police do need to be armed.
I think though, that, I mean, obviously what they're talking about here is concentrating on areas where there is trouble and there is perhaps a need for tougher measures. I mean, I agree with you. I can't necessarily see how it would help, but I don't think it would necessarily be a widespread thing. Like, I live in a village, you live in a little village, and our local policemen are lovely. You get the feeling that, I mean, they're not lovely skipping around, but they're nice, they're helpful. You get the feeling that they're there to protect us, to try and keep trouble off the streets.
That's the thing. I mean, I've complete different gear change. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for two beautiful, fabulous Scottish policemen this morning at 5:30 that helped me out. So I think it's Billy and David. I think I've got the right names, but thank you. So completely different.
What were you doing with policemen?
Don't ask me, darling. 5:30. I start early. It was at the airport. It's fine.
Oh, OK. Time for a final break before we catch up with one of the...